Hello, Alan Miller here. We're going to work on tracking today. When we start, it is very simple to teach and very simple to do. But what we are going to do today is just basically get a dog started with the whole tracking process. So I'm going to walk you through this as we go. My credentials run as such. I did tracking in the 80s and 90s with my Rottweilers all the way to a VST level. So this will be fun. I'm making what is called a stamp pad. This will be the starting point for the dog. And then he'll have to figure out, he's going to come in perpendicular to my track, and he's going to have to figure out which direction I went in. This will be the beginning of the track. I'm going to make it super easy. When a dog is tracking, what it's looking for is two things: the skin cells coming off your body, and adrenaline plays into this too. The track layer today is not, I'm not all pumped up and sweaty and hot, and I didn't just steal a car. So there's not going to be a lot of adrenaline that the dog will perceive, which causes you to sweat more and more things come off your body. But I am going to do some of this with a little bit of food just to get the dog interested in tracking. Normally, they're looking for crushed vegetation and your skin cells, and they can perceive direction. And of course, where you went, you'll see the dog going back and forth across the track to find out where it is or isn't. Also, this is not going to be step tracking, which is done in Schutzen or IGN work, as it's called today. This is going to be a generalized tracking, which is part air scenting and part foot tracking. Okay, I'm going to start now. The camera's going to follow me. Scraping my feet a little just to make it easy for the dog to understand at this beginning stage. This dog has maybe only run tracks for about 3 months, maybe 7 or 8 tracks of this length. I just want it to be easy for the dog to find. This is going to be my first corner. I'm going to head in the direction of the American flag. The wind is coming from my right hand side and heading towards my left. Reason I'm spitting is because I'm trying to leave a little bit more scent than would naturally be here if I were to just walk quietly. Just as I get over the crest, I'm going to turn to the left, right about where this sprinkler is. I'm going to put another flag here. And yes, the dog will learn quickly about the flags, but the flags will be eliminated later on. I'm going to head down towards this gully in between these two large oak trees here. Be a little bit different leg, or a difficult leg, I should say, because I am heading downwind. It feels like there's a little less wind here as I'm walking, but it's difficult for a dog to track downwind. They're much better at tracking upwind, especially when they're inexperienced. But I am going to ask my camera lady to stay in my track. So as she's following me, she's going to follow my exact footsteps. Also, I am spitting little teeny pieces of food every once in a while, just because I want to make it easy for this dog and motivational. I want this dog to be looking for something fun. We can make it harder as we go along. I've been doing this type of work for 40 years, so this is just my method. There are many different methods of teaching tracking, but I like it to be simple for the dog, okay? Now the scent, as I'm walking here, is going to start pooling down into this gully. So I'm not going to go all the way down into the gully. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go about 3/4 of the way down. I want to see where this dog is at mentally. And I'm going to head in between these two trees back up. I want to see if the dog is able to figure out that I've changed directions. I'm going to head in the general direction of these two trash cans off in the distance here. And I think that this is going to be our last leg of this. This dog is not super experienced. I'm already laying a very long track, but it's a pretty good dog and it likes using its nose. And the handler is pretty adept at reading the dog. So we're going to test that today and see what the dog does. And we can always help him along if he needs help. Tracking is something that you spend a lot of time walking, which is kind of a good thing for me, as you can see. And it's something that gets you out in the early mornings. Easier for a dog to track when there's dew on the ground, as opposed to when the track is aged for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours sometimes, and it's very dry. In tracking certification tests, you're allowed to hydrate your dog, as much as you want. A wet nose and a wet mouth helps the olfactory glands work more properly. So I like doing beginning dogs early in the morning. It's just easier for them to figure it out. I'm still heading in the direction of my trash cans. You would never, ever find your corners without flags in the very beginning. You'd never remember the exact path that you took. So it's important that you use some visual references. What I normally do is I'll go from this type of a reference right now, which are just little flags that I made, and it'll start being chalk. And the reason that I like using chalk is it looks natural on the ground. You can see it easily as a handler, but it's not something that would cue the dog like a flag that, oh, just go towards the flag. Also, chalk absorbs your scent. So you're not only putting chalk down on, especially in VST tracking where you're going to be going on hard surfaces, the chalk is easy for us to see and it carries scent. So once again, it helps the dog a little bit. I'm heading towards the trash cans. I also, with beginning dogs, I've had great success with at the beginning stages. I found that I could run longer tracks, get the dog used to the idea of tracking by tying pig's ears to my feet. And what I'm doing right now is just spitting out bits of food along the way to make it very easy for this dog to do such a long track at a early developmental stage of his tracking career. I can make this much harder and much more realistic as we go along. But today, it's all for the dog to motivate. This is where I'm going to place my goal, which is a little glove that's well worn. I'm going to stamp around here a little bit, and I'm going to put it in here. Okay? Easy peasy. There's going to be a flag here so I don't lose the glove if the dog comes off the track. Now, another thing that's important to remember, we're going to ask the camera lady to pan around to the bicyclist without moving. She's just going to pan around to the bicyclist and then back to me. You're going to have random cross tracking, which is people are going to cross your track unintentionally, not knowing what you're doing. There could be loose dogs out here at some point. The dog has to stay focused on what its goal is, which is finding my scent and finding this glove. Another important component to this is that once I'm done with this track, I do not just walk straight back to the search dog. If I walk straight back to where we started this track, the dog is going to encounter my scent somewhere along the way and might start following my backtrack. If the dog starts following my backtrack, I've destroyed my original track. So in locating and recovery work, search and rescue work, police canine tracking work, we need to make sure that we do not exploit this track by walking back over it or walking near it. So we are going to continue downwind, and we're going to stay downwind the whole way back to the car so that the dog cannot lose track of where we went. I don't want to contaminate the track. Okay, so the camera person is going to follow me, and we're not going to corrupt our track. I'm going to walk straight out of this as if I didn't know that I dropped this. Then I'm going to slowly curve around. The wind now is coming from my right to my left. I never walk out of the track upwind, always downwind. The camera lady's going to catch up to me now because it's also my wife and I want to be able to enjoy the walk with her. We're going to head towards this canopy of trees, and then we are going to follow this canopy of trees all the way past our starting point and then back to the car. Now, this track would normally run or age, excuse me, at first maybe a half hour or an hour. Then we would start extending that time. In other words, from the point that I get done laying the track to the starting point of the test is going to vary depending upon the experience level of the dog. The more experienced the dog is, the more items it's going to have to find on the ground or indicate, and the longer the track is going to be aged. Okay? So that's it for right now. We'll let you see the dog track in a couple of minutes. Just walking out of our track, going back to the starting point for the tracking. Another question that was brought up to me is, what equipment do I use? So one of the things that we start with is a very comfortable tracking harness that can be a regular harness, but usually we like it to be padded a little bit wider and maybe a little bit longer in the back because we want the dog to be very comfortable in pulling. This is not an obedience thing in the context of obedience trials. You're going to be using a long line. In some types of tracking, you're going to be able to be close. Like in real life police tracking, you might be close to the dog, depending upon the environment. In AKC tracking or Schutzhund tracking, you're going to be asked to be a certain distance from the dog, which will be indicated on your long line or your tracking line by a set of beads or some kind of a flag or something that the judge can see that you're not getting so close to the dog that you can affect the dog's work. Good. Don't let him out too far. You're going to head towards the pole. So shorten that up a little bit. Always keep it tight. Drag your line on the ground. Perfect. You're going to keep talking to him. Just let him look around. Good boy. Good boy. Pick up your wallet. Pick up your wallet. You're going to keep it on you. Put it in your pocket. Look at the benches, Mary. He's coming back to his track. Good boy. Good boy. Mark that. On the track. Good boy. Let him circle. Good. 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 Search. Good boy. Good boy. Keep that line short. You don't want any bouncing. You don't want it. So you want to keep your line semi-tight all the time while he's searching. Okay? Call him back to you. Keep that line always tight. Good morning, sir. Search. I want you to practice holding your line high so it doesn't get tangled around his legs. Don't bunch the leash up. Do not bunch it up. You're always working with what's between you and the dog. Shorten your line. Good. Take him to the flag. Now stand still. Shorten your line. Good boy. Good. Search. Good. Stop there for a second. Good. Search. Good. Good. Yes, yes. Good search. Good search. Good boy, buddy. Good boy. Good boy. Good search. Good. Good search. Good boy. Good search. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, yes, yes. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, buddy. Good. Search. Good. Good. Yes. Good boy. Good boy. Yeah, buddy. Good. Good. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Good. Good boy. Yes. Boy. Good boy. Yes. 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 Good boy. Yes. Got it. Got it. Good. Yes. Good boy. Ah, good boy. Yeah. Give me that. Give that to me. Give me that. Yeah. Good boy. Good. He's a good dog.
Yes, he loves it.
Did you see how I handled him?
Yes, I was saying it's easier for me to watch
Yes.
to do right now. That's hard.
That was awesome. And as he came out in the middle of this field,
Uh-huh.
he got even better. He stayed right on the track.
I can... There you go. So.
Yeah, we're giving him water to keep his scent glands, his olfactory glands moist. We're done with tracking, but you can give your dog water anytime during the tracking process, the testing, as long as you tell the judge what you're doing. Normally, they're not going to want you to have a little dish like this. If it was smaller than this, it'd be okay. Most of the tracking people will have something they squeeze into the dog's mouth, or they'll drink out of your hand, but this is fine.